Amazon recently announced it's laying off 30,000 people, mostly white collar workers, with 14,000 reportedly happening immediately. Not warehouse jobs, not delivery drivers, office people, the ones who sit behind screens. And when I heard that, I thought, maybe this isn't just about Amazon. Maybe this is a sign of what's coming for all of us. You know, they said artificial intelligence would make life easier, smarter, faster, better. And maybe it has so far on the surface. But I've been watching something deeper happening. It's not just about jobs disappearing, it's about the whole system that keeps our world running starting to break apart. If people aren't working, they're not earning a living. And if they're not earning a living, they're not spending. And if they're not spending, how do businesses, both big and small, survive? We built this economy like a living thing. Each person, each job feeding another. And now it feels like the very heart of it is slowing down. You know, how did we get here? Before we had money, people traded. You hunted, I built, someone else made tools, we swapped. That was called barter, and everyone survived. That's how humanity worked. Every job connected to another. Even when money showed up, you know, that thing we call currency that we use to enable, facilitate, and execute transactions, that same idea stayed alive. You work, you get paid, you spend that money, and that spending pays someone else, and it's a continuum. It's a cycle that's been going on for thousands of years. But now, that cycle is breaking. I was talking to a teacher friend the other day, and she said, "Hey, Kranky, my students don't even ask me questions anymore. They just ask ChatGPT." And you could hear the hurt in her voice. She's not angry, she's just bewildered and lost. Because teaching used to be her purpose. Every job, every role was a thread in that web. Pull out too many threads, and the web starts to fall apart. We had heard about AI, but now it's here. Not another tool, something that actually thinks. The one thing that separates human beings from all other species, that thing called intellect, the ability to think. And unlike us, AI doesn't sleep. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't need a weekend off. It doesn't get sick. It just learns and learns and learns. When I started using AI I think it's about 2 years ago, I'll admit I was blown away. It could write, analyze, even plan faster than I could think. At first, it felt like magic. I put some thoughts in, actually gave me some feedback, and it gave me an output, which I loved. But now I realize it wasn't just helping me, it was actually replacing me. AI doesn't farm, it doesn't build, but it runs on data. And today, data is the new lifeblood of civilization. The more data it eats, the smarter it gets. The smarter it gets, the less it needs us.
Thank you for applying. After careful consideration, we won't be moving forward with your application. We appreciate your interest, but the position has been filled.
Now, you know, historically, we have had this ladder. We try to climb the ladder, some people call it the corporate ladder, but it's sort of the life ladder. For decades, we have told young people, you go to school, work hard, work smart, climb the ladder, and life will reward you. That's what I told my nephew when he started college. He's studying finance. The other day he said to me, Uncle, if AI can analyze markets faster than I can think, what's the point of my degree? And honestly, I didn't have an easy answer. He's not lazy. Frankly, the opposite. He works hard. But he's questioning his place in a world that's changing faster than his professors can teach. Here's the context he's feeling, but can't always see. Recent reports say up to 85 million jobs could be displaced globally by the end of 2025. Many in the middle scale, white collar roles. In the US, surveys show about 40% of companies are restructuring with AI this year, and roughly 40% say they are automating work rather than augmenting people. So when my nephew asks, what's the point? That's not paranoia. That's data. That's concern. That's being inquisitive. That's feeling the pressure. Because what happens when every safe job, bankers, lawyers, engineers, architects, gets automated? What's the new ladder? What's the aspiration? What's the goal? Who's holding it steady? For the first time, an entire generation isn't asking how to succeed. They're asking whether there'll even be a place for them. And if you hear a lot of the information nowadays and the discussion nowadays about a lot of companies are saying they're not hiring entry-level people because AI can do those jobs. Now, here's the truth we don't like to face. Every job that runs on data is in danger.
Accountants reviewing every figure, lawyers reading every line, doctors studying every image. Now, the work continues, only faster and automatically. Intelligence and code doing the tasks.
Accountants, lawyers, analysts, traders, doctors, teachers, coders, you name it. If your work involves data or decisions, AI can probably learn it, replicate it, do it faster, and do it better. A friend of mine has been an auditor for 20 plus years. She told me recently, I'm training the AI system that's going to replace many of my staff and one day myself. That was heartbreaking because the question in her mind is this: what will happen to her? Are the skills she had built for 2 decades going to become worthless? Economists are calling this a jobless recovery. The economy grows, productivity rises, but people don't get the jobs because machines do the work while paychecks don't reach families. For centuries, we gave meaning to work and work gave meaning to us. We studied, we debated, we used judgment. That's what made it human and made us human. But when machines start making better judgments than people, what's left for us? AI isn't just taking jobs, it's absorbing entire professions: finance, law, medicine, journalism. Everywhere you look, humans are being written out of their own story. This divide that's coming, are you ready for it? The gap isn't just rich and poor anymore. It's between people who control the machines and people who get replaced by them.
On one side of town, screens glow late into the night, lines of code turning into thinking machines. On the other, people wait in the cold, resumes in hand, wondering where they fit in a world changing faster.
People spent years and much resources mastering their craft are watching algorithms do core parts of their work in seconds. And I'll tell you something real. Even I know AI could copy my tone, my voice, my words. It's humbling and it's very scary. Because when logic replaces life, when machines can do everything we can do, what's left to make us human? We're also seeing who gets hit first and who gets hit the hardest. Younger workers in entry level roles, women in clerical positions, and ethnic minorities in routine information jobs. The inequality risk grows as the middle is hollowed out.
The scan shows mild inflammation in your bronchial tubes. Your oxygen level and heart rate look stable, so nothing urgent.
Is that why I've been wheezing in the mornings?
Most likely, yes.
I want to share this personal story with you. I had a cardiologist on my show not too long ago. He still frequents my channel. At first, he didn't trust AI at all. Kranky, I'm a doctor, he says. AI cannot do what I do. So we explored together right there on my show. A few weeks later, he called me and said, I use AI almost now every day. I don't make many decisions without AI. That story stuck with me because it shows both sides. AI is powerful and it helps. But if even doctors depend on it, what happens when it's to start thinking faster and better than them? What happens? They're also at risk to be displaced. Now let's think about governments, because a lot of times in society, we expect our governments to have our interests at heart. We're humans. We elect them. They should be operating on our behalf. They control our society when they're elected. People ask me all the time, so what's the government doing about all of this? And the truth is, frankly, at this point, not enough.
If we are to keep our commitments, we have to invest now.
With respect, this proposal risks leaving those communities behind.
We need a framework that recognizes both growth and responsibility.
Technology moves faster than laws. AI evolves in months. Politicians take years to debate one bill. In fact, we have a government shutdown in the US, and they can't seem to agree or agree to disagree. Governments can't stand by while the economy reshapes itself. They need to make sure people don't get left behind. That's not socialism, it's survival. We don't need handouts. We need a plan, one that protects competition, encourages real innovation, and keeps people as part of the process. Because if truth dies between citizens and the system, this entire ecosystem falls apart. Now let's think about markets, because markets a lot of times are the lifeblood of today's environment. And here's something a lot of folks haven't thought about. The economy isn't just about jobs, it's about buying power. Even if AI makes companies more efficient, if people aren't earning, who's going to buy the products? You can't sell Teslas to people with no income. You can't sell smart homes when no one can afford a roof. You can't sell smartphones when no one can afford to buy the phone because they have no earnings. Right now, adoption is racing ahead. Nearly half of companies are reorganizing around AI, and a big chunk are using it to replace people. If output goes up while paycheck goes down, demand dries up, and markets will follow.
4277, size 5.
You seeing that?
Got it. Moving the order up. Watch the spread.
Copy.
Out on Main Street, the screens stay bright, but the shops are dark.
The stock market is supposed to reflect growth. But if only a few AI giants make all the money, and right now we have NVIDIA, the highest valued company of about 5 trillion. If those companies make all the money, it becomes a skyscraper standing on a toothpick. And when that toothpick snaps, everyone falls. Investors, retirees, countries. Capitalism can't survive if there are no consumers left to consume. And that's the contradiction we're walking straight into. Now let's think about this on a global basis. Because this is not just about America. Take China, for example. Over 1 billion people racing ahead in AI. They're building systems fast. But even there, the question is the same. What happens when millions of people become unnecessary? How do you feed and sustain that many who are left out? Even if you're in a developing country and you're not replacing workers with AI, you still trade with countries that are. If big economies lose their middle class, who's going to buy exports from Jamaica? Who's going to have money to take vacation and be a tourist in Jamaica, in Mexico? Who's going to buy products from Ghana or other developing countries? Every time layoff happens, someone says, don't worry. We have seen this before. We went from agrarian society to industrial, to technology, and now in AI. People will learn new skills.
Remember, every function should do one clear thing. Write it, test it, and then build on it. Let's run this together. Great work so far, everyone.
Now watch what happens when the computer takes the next step. No hands on the keyboard, just the algorithm crafting its own instructions.
Let's be honest. This feels different. If AI can already learn faster than we can teach, what exactly are we reskilling for? You can't train everyone to be an AI engineer. You can't turn every laid off worker into a data scientist. And there aren't enough of those jobs anyway. The truth is this, people. Human beings have limits, and that's okay. We think, we feel, we create, but not everyone wants to code or manage systems. We have to fundamentally rethink what work means, not just tell people to retrain and keep up. Now, here's the economic reality. Let's slow down and look at all of this like regular people. If the middle class disappears, that means fewer people buying groceries, cars, homes, and clothes. That means small businesses suffer. That means governments collect fewer taxes. That means everyone, and I mean everyone, rich and poor, will feel the pain. Even the rich who believe they're immune from this, who control the AI companies, will eventually lose. Because if no one is buying their products, profit dry up. The system feeds on participation. When that stops, the economy stops. The core group that drives economic activity is the middle class. If AI replaces that class, you don't have economic activity. AI will make production cheaper. That's unquestionable. But it can also make prosperity vanish. So, where does this leave us? We can't stop AI. It's already here. But we can decide how it's used. We can build systems that put people first. Jobs that value creativity, empathy, and critical thinking. The things that AI cannot replicate. We can make education focus on imagination, not memorization. We can demand transparency from companies that profit from our data. And most of all, we can stay human in a world that's becoming extremely mechanical. At the end of the day, the question isn't whether AI will replace us. It's whether we'll let it replace the things that make life meaningful. I go back to my nephew. Whenever I talk to him, he's still trying to figure out his place in this world. What's his purpose? And I tell him, machines might be smarter, but they don't dream. They don't love. Frankly, they don't care. If we remember that, there's still hope. Because once the human economy dies, the only thing that worth saving is us. We need to get together as a community, as a world, and figure out what we call direction of travel. Where are we going? What will this mean? We can't be reactive. We have to be proactive. It's not only governments, companies have to take responsibility and accountability. It can't just be about profit. Otherwise, they're going to be in a self-defeating purpose. They're going to become obsolete by their greed, by their focus on profitability, not on humankind. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.